The time is winding down in the NFC Championship. The 49ers have one last play. They throw it up to the end zone and picked up by Richard Sherman. The Seahawks are going to the 2013 Super Bowl. As if you could tell, we're talking about the Legion of Boom and the Seattle Seahawks and the legacy that they left behind. I know that not everyone enjoys football or follows it or understands it completely, but this isn't just a football story. This is a story of low upbringings and dedication to the game and something they love, and more of just a great story. I personally am a Seattle Seahawks fan. I have been an avid football watcher for as long as I can understand the game, and I enjoy it a lot. So today we're going to talk about three different things. We're going to talk about the background of three specific players that made up the Legion of Boom. We'll talk about the accolades and game stats that they have been able to create over their 7-year era, as well as how they dismembered and what they were up to after retirement and how they're doing now. Yeah, so without further ado, let's get into where they all started. So there's three players: Richard Sherman, who grew up in Compton, California. There's Earl Thomas III, who grew up in Orange, Texas. And there is Kam Chancellor, who grew up in Norfolk, Virginia. These players were drafted between 2010 and 2011. According to Trevor Padula from the International New York Times, stated in 2014, the 2010 draft class the 2010 Seattle draft class will go down as the best defensive draft class in history. This draft included Earl Thomas, Kam Chancellor, and Bobby Wagner, who was also a big part of the Seattle defense, but we won't get into him as much. All three of these players also went to Division I prestigious colleges. Richard Sherman attending Stanford, Earl Thomas attending the University of Texas, and then Kam Chancellor attending Virginia Tech. So now that we know a little bit about where they were, and also we can talk about their upbringings. None of them had an advantage where they grew up. None of them had a financial advantage, an emotional advantage, intellectual advantage. They had to work for what they got, and they had well-deserved college careers as well as getting drafted into the NFL. So now that we know about their upbringing and how they've gone to the league and built their character up to get to this point, let's talk about how they've been doing, or how they've done it. So they had a great 7-season stint. They made the Super Bowl twice. They won their first Super Bowl in 2013, where they beat the Denver Broncos by a good amount. They then went on to play the New England Patriots the next year, where they lost on the final play of the game. Very sad. According to Mason Martin from New Wire Tech, stated in 2016, the Legion of Boom has had six consecutive winning seasons, 3 divisional championships, and 2 Super Bowl appearances. They also went on to record the single-season forced turnover record, as well as the single-game forced turnover record. This went on to innovate the game of football. So everyone at this time only wanted a high-powered offense. That's how you won games. And they changed that. Defensive players now get paid more money. Defensive schemes, defensive coordinators get paid more money. And teams are trying to recreate this kind of camaraderie from a defense, which hasn't quite happened yet. So now we know about their impact of the game and what they did as their time as NFL players. Let's go into how it all ended and how they're doing now. So 2019 was the first year they hadn't made the playoffs in 7 years. Kam Chancellor had retired that year. There was also plenty of injuries. It was just an unlucky events. After that, Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas went their own ways, played for a couple different teams. Didn't quite work out. According to Michael Salfino from the Wall Street Journal in 2021, all three members, as of 2020, all three members of the Legion of community service. They have everything they needed to do to bring themselves back up and show their character is strong. Salfino also went on to say from the New York Street Journal in 2021 that Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas are both sports broadcasters now. So they chose to continue their careers in football and sports. As for Cam Chancellor, he moved back to Virginia to build his family. He also coaches for the high school football team for Norfolk View High School. That's the great story of how they made mistakes and they learned from them, and it shows them more as men than football players, and it shows how they can overcome that. So today we went over 3 main topics to help you learn about the Legion of Boom. We talked about where these 3 amazing athletes came from, their upbringings, and how it wasn't easy. We talked about how what they did on the field and how that was so inspirational and important. We talked about the downfall and how things didn't end up so well and how they overcame that. And that's the main point of it. And I'd like to thank all of you for listening and learning from my speech, and just seeing how dedication and hard work can take a team and even an individual as far as they want to go. And thank you guys for listening.